Welcome back to Our Issues Milwaukee. I'm your host, Andrea Williams. Our focus this morning has been on outstanding organizations that help restore the lives of those in need right here in our community. The Milwaukee Rescue Mission is the largest shelter in the state of Wisconsin and has been around since 1893. My next guest is Amy Halcomb. She's the Director of Development and Communication for the Milwaukee Rescue Mission. Hi, Amy.
Hi, Andrea. Thanks for having me.
It's always good to talk to people who are really making a difference in our community, so welcome to the show.
Thank you.
The city of Milwaukee has some startling statistics that make it clear that there are people living in our community that need organizations like the Milwaukee Rescue Mission. Not only are we one of America's poorest cities, we've got 1 in 3 people who are living in poverty. So when you have numbers like that, you see a number of people who are coming to the mission to seek help.
Yes, we are. And not only are 1 in 3 in Milwaukee living in poverty, about half of the folks living in poverty are children. So it touches men, women, children. People end up in poverty for so many different reasons, whether it's job loss or addiction or mental illness. We see all kinds of backgrounds. We see folks who have all kinds of educational backgrounds. There are so many reasons that people become homeless or hungry from poverty that it's sad that we have a need in our community for this, but I am thankful that there are organizations like the Milwaukee Rescue Mission where we can reach out to those folks and help them get back on their feet.
Yeah, and if people can imagine, on any given night, there are at least 1,500 people who are out on the streets, and we're talking about Milwaukee, where it's not like Florida, where it's, you know, tolerable weather all year long, but it gets very cold, needless to say. And then you also, you spoke of the children who are living in poverty. Nearly half of Milwaukee's children, 43%, are living below the poverty line. So talk about some of the programs and services that you have set up to help people who are in these situations.
Sure. Our first response would be to basic needs. We provide about 800 meals a day. We shelter up to 400 people a night, depending on what the need is, what the weather's like. We start there, and then we build on those programs with education. Our president likes to say that if you give a man a fish, you feed him for a day, teach him to fish, and feed him for a lifetime. And so we really believe strongly in educational programs. And so we do a lot of education for mothers, parenting programs, nutrition programs, budgeting. A lot of the men, similar programs with budgeting, maybe working on their GED or towards a degree or some type of a skill. We do a lot of job training. We really try to focus on, after those basic needs are met, getting them to be able to be self-sufficient and contribute to the community.
And that's what it boils down to, giving people that dignity and having them feel like, I can do this. They're not stuck in that place, and that's exactly what you do. You give them that push to say, you know what, we're going to give you everything you need in order to get to where you want to be. You spoke of the different programs that deal with feeding individuals, which 800 meals a day is huge, needless to say. But you have the shelter programs, one specifically for men, and then you have one that's specifically for women and children.
Correct.
Right?
Yes.
And so how does one go about getting into those shelters?
So if someone needed help, the men's division and the women's division are both housed in our main campus, which is on 19th and Wells. And the men, we have about 250 beds for emergency shelter, and if a man is in need, he can literally show up at the door and we'll take him in. We'll provide him with a meal, we'll provide him with clothing if he needs it, and obviously with a bed. The women's shelter, which is called Joy House, that also falls in the same location as the men's division. It's a similar process where if a woman has a need, if she's homeless, if she's been evicted, if she's fleeing domestic violence, she calls us and she shows up and we bring her in. And then if she's interested in sort of making lasting changes in whatever experience she's been having in her life, she can enroll in one of our long-term programs. And we have some residential programs where we've got women and children living for longer periods of time, up to a year, maybe a year and a half, until they can find a job or find alternate housing.
Yeah, and it's like, you know, we're just coming out of the holiday season, and a lot of times, you know, people are really aware of the people that are in need and are ready to help and do an outstanding job doing that. But we wanted to have you here to remind them that people are in need all year long. So, and it doesn't take a lot to help fund these programs. I read on your website that $2.04 actually provides a meal to a person at the Milwaukee Rescue Mission. So that means if all you have is $5, then you fed 2 people. And that's the beauty of it. You don't have to give this huge check, you know, with a presentation.
Right.
Every dollar helps.
It does, it does. And it's actually amazing because the donations that we receive for all of our shelter programs are strictly from private individuals, foundations, and businesses. We don't receive any government funding. And so we're able to provide the services that we are because of our community. And about 70% of the donors that we have giving to the Milwaukee Rescue Mission are individuals who are giving us those $5, $50, you know, those gifts that maybe someone would think, well, what could my few dollars do? And it actually does go a very long way. We are very, very good stewards of our resources. We are constantly trying to figure out ways to use our money more wisely and more efficiently. And so that $2.04, it does. There's a meal right there. So.
Yeah, and the thing is everybody has something they can offer if they don't have money, so to speak. You know, some people are good with their hands, and some people are great cooks. Whatever the case may be, we all have something that we can give to help others. And a great example I read a couple of weeks ago in the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel. There's this orthopedic surgeon, Richard Marks, and a team of physicians and volunteers from Frederick Hospital and the Medical College. They came together and brought all of these shoes to the rescue mission, and were really helping men have shoes, and then they were also doing those exams on their feet, which is really important when you think about maybe someone who doesn't have health care or something along those lines. So that's an example of how people can use their expertise and give back.
Yeah, people get really creative. In that particular instance, that was actually a really exciting thing to see. The men coming in and getting shoes, something that we take for granted. And I think of the number of shoes I have in my closet, and I think of how quickly my children go through their shoes. And the men that are coming into our shelter are doing a lot of walking. They're very hard on their shoes. And so not only did this orthopedic or this surgeon come in and offer his services, the shoes were all donated by a local organization as well, or a local business. And they were very high quality shoes, shoes that will likely last the men a lot longer than maybe something that they would have received otherwise. And so, yeah, people get very creative. And we have children that do alternative birthday parties. You know, they, instead of getting a gift, they tell everybody to give some money to the Milwaukee Rescue Mission. And so there's just a lot of really, really neat things that people come up with in the community to do to support people who need help.
That's what it's all about. And just to give Dr. Marks his due, that's Hearts to Souls, that program, something they've been doing since 2007. And I just wanted to definitely draw attention to that. I thought it was special. 85% of all the donations that are given to the Milwaukee Rescue Mission, you guys give back to those who are in need. So I wanted to definitely pinpoint a couple of things that are something you're proud of. You've got this new building with your Cross Trainers Academy, and I think this is a special school because I've had individuals here telling us how many students that are in MPS that are considered homeless, but you guys have this school that are set up for kids who are in those type of situations, or maybe be at-risk families, and so therefore you're set up specifically for them, right?
Right. Our school, Cross Trainers Academy, we started in 2006 because we realized that there was just a great need for taking in not just the children but the families. And we had a lot of kids go through our family shelter who we wanted to help provide some stability to also. And so we started the school. We've got about 225 kids enrolled right now from about 100 families, all living in the Lindsay Heights neighborhood, generally speaking, which is where the school is located at 15th and Center. We call it our North Campus. And the families, about 30% of those families that are at Cross Trainers Academy have been through our shelter. And so there just was a really strong need. And I was actually just at the school yesterday, and it was really fun just to see what was going on in the halls and the classrooms. So
that's awesome. And like I said, you're understanding the needs of those children specifically, so you're able to cater to that. And you've got a brand new daycare. I'm sure you're proud of that. Tell us a little bit more.
Yes, we're very proud of that. So again, another need that we saw in the community, and we over years have received contact from many people living in the community. Hey, do you have something that where my kids could be cared for while I'm working? And so we knew there was a desire for that to be there, and we, because of this building that we were able to acquire last spring, have the facilities now for a daycare. And so we opened that in September, and we've got little ones running around in there, and it's lots of fun to go over there. But it's another thing that just, we're so excited that we have this ability to help serve the community in that way.
Yes, indeed. And your goal for your Cross Trainers Academy is to be able to accommodate up to 500 students. So you definitely want to see it grow and continue to change the lives of kids.
Yes, we do.
Yes. So there's a number of major events that the Milwaukee Rescue Mission does each and every year. So this is a great time for you to educate the public about those and how they can get involved.
Sure. So we've historically had 2 major events a year, and we actually added one this year. We start in the spring with our banquet, which is in May, and this year it'll be on Thursday, May 12th at the Hilton Milwaukee City Center, and we'll have registration information on our website coming soon for that. That's a very fun event. We have a silent auction and a dinner, and always a really lovely presentation. So that's a lot of fun. And then we have a golf outing in the late summer, early fall, typically in September. That we have at the Blue Mountain Golf and Country Club, and that's another very fun event, different type of event than a banquet, but we always have a good turnout and lots of fun there. And then this last November we added an event for families to participate that we call the Walk a Mile event. It's taken off of Walk a Mile in their shoes, and it's a mile-long walk, and it starts at the Milwaukee Rescue Mission and it ends at the Milwaukee Rescue Mission. And we had for our first year, we were excited to have about 250 participants there, and we had all ages. We had strollers. We had really actually relatively nice weather this year, which was good. But yeah, it's a fun event, and we're excited to do it again next year.
And all of the money that you raise with these type of events goes right back into helping people. So that's where it becomes a win-win,
right?
Because people have fun, they're doing something they enjoy, but yet they're helping somebody at the same time. So people can find out more information on all of those things by going to your website, and your website address is
www.milmission.org.
And the phone number to call is 344-2211.
Correct.
That one thing I wanted to also mention as we wrap up, you have a summer camp that features and focuses on academic retention, which is a huge thing during the summer months. So quickly, the importance of that.
Sure. So we have roughly 100 kids, usually a little more than that, every summer for about 6 weeks, who come. Many of them have been in the school or have been through the shelter or in the shelter right now, and they would participate in academics all morning and then fun in the afternoon. But the goal of it is to really keep the kids, keep their retention of everything they learned during the school year, so that they don't go back to school in September having forgotten a large percentage of it.
Well, thank you for stopping by.
Thank you.
It has been a pleasure talking to you, and continued success with all that you're doing.
Thank you so much for having me.
Amy Halcomb is the Director of Development and Communication for the Milwaukee Rescue Mission. You can log on to milmission.org or call 344-2211 for anything that we've discussed today. And that is going to do it for today's show. I'm your host, Andrea Williams. As always, I do thank you for watching, and I hope you join us again next week as we take another look at our issues, Milwaukee. Have a great day, and Happy New Year.